Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. I'm your host, and today we're actually stepping into the laboratory for a really fun edition, Dr. Chem's Masterclass. In this explainer, we're going to uncover the true chemical concentration hiding inside a very common item that is probably sitting in your pantry right now, everyday household vinegar. So here's the big question to kick us off. Is your kitchen vinegar really 5% acid? You know, the bottle on the grocery store shelf proudly states it is. But as scientists, we don't just blindly trust a label, right? We test it. Today, we're proposing a totally hands-on scientific investigation using analytical chemistry to find out the absolute truth about what's inside that bottle. Here's our game plan for today. 1. The vinegar acid mystery. 2. Gearing up with materials and prep. 3. The procedure, our drop-by-drop countdown. 4. Observation, looking for the pink endpoint. 5. Crunching the concentration numbers. And finally, 6. Real-world vinegar applications. All right, let's dive right into Section 1, the vinegar acid mystery. So what gives vinegar its kick? It's all thanks to this culprit right here, acetic acid, or CH3COOH. It's produced by oxidizing ethanol, which creates this weak, monoprotic, organic Bronsted-Lowry acid. Now take a close look at the molecular structure here. Notice that single hydrogen atom attached to the oxygen on the right side? That is the acidic hydrogen. Out of all the hydrogens in that whole molecule, that specific red one is the only one responsible for the acid-base reaction we're about to trigger. To measure that acid, we're relying on a classic chemistry concept, neutralization. Basically, it's a chemical reaction where an acid and a strong base react together to form water and a salt. By using a strong base, like sodium hydroxide as our chemical interrogator, if you will, we can force the hidden acetic acid to completely neutralize, which allows us to perfectly measure its concentration. Moving right along to Section 2, gearing up, materials, and prep. Let's look at our lab arsenal. We need our standardized strong base, typically 0.1 or 0.2 molar sodium hydroxide. Then we need our analyte, meaning the vinegar. But notice we specifically ask for colorless white vinegar. This is absolutely crucial. If we used a naturally brown vinegar, like a sherry or malt vinegar, its dark color would completely mask our upcoming visual reaction. We also need our phenolphthalein indicator, a 50 milliliter burette, a 250 milliliter Erlenmeyer flask, volumetric pipettes for precision, and some distilled water. Now for the sample prep. We can't just dump straight vinegar into a flask and test it. The natural 4 to 15% concentration is just way too strong. We'd waste massive amounts of our titrant base trying to neutralize it. So, step 1, we pipette exactly 10 milliliters of our sample. Step 2, we dilute it in a volumetric flask up to 100 milliliters using distilled water. Diluting it ensures a precise, manageable reaction. And finally, step 3, we add 2 to 3 drops of that phenolphthalein indicator to our working sample. All right, Section 3. The procedure, or as I like to call it, the drop-by-drop countdown. Here is where the real chemistry happens at the bench. Step 1, we carefully rinse and fill our burette with our sodium hydroxide titrant. Step 2, we get right down to eye level with that meniscus and record the exact initial volume. Down to 2 decimal places, precision is key here. Then, step 3, we open the stopcock and begin letting the base flow drop by drop into the flask, while using our other hand to continuously swirl the analyte. It becomes this kind of hypnotic rhythm in the lab. Swirl, drop, swirl, drop. You have to be incredibly focused here. As the base hits the acid, we're hunting for a split-second change in the chemical balance. You're watching, waiting for it. Section 4, observation, the pink endpoint. Boom! The equivalence point. One single drop hits that swirling liquid, and suddenly, a faint pink flash. And it persists for at least 10 seconds. This is the magic of phenolphthalein. It turns clear in acid, but pink in a basic solution. So that color change is our undeniable signal. It means every single molecule of acetic acid has been neutralized, and that very first drop of excess sodium hydroxide has tipped the whole flask basic. The titration is officially complete, and we immediately record our final burette volume. Now, this might look like magic, but it's pure math. Check out this titration curve. It visually anchors that cool color change. Look at the x-axis, representing the volume of base added. Right around 20 milliliters, do you see that massive, almost vertical leap in pH? That staggering mathematical spike caused by literally 1 drop of our base at the equivalence point is exactly what forces our indicator to flip from clear to pink. Section 5, crunching the concentration numbers. The secret to all this math is a beautiful, wonderfully simple number, a 1-to-1 molar ratio. Acetic acid and sodium hydroxide react perfectly 1-to-1. That means the number of moles of our interrogator base that fell from the burette perfectly equally matches the number of moles of our acid suspect that were hiding down in the flask. Let's put this into action with a real result to see how it works. Step 1. We multiply our volume of base used, let's say we dropped exactly 0.0083 liters, by its 0.1 molarity to find our moles of base. Step 2, thanks to that amazing 1-to-1 ratio, our acid moles are exactly the same. Step 3, we multiply those moles by the molar mass of 60.052 to find the physical mass of the acid in our flask. Finally, step 4, we divide that acid mass by our original sample's mass and multiply by 100. And just like that, our result is revealed, 5.02%. So in this case, the label was actually telling the truth. And finally, Section 6, Real-World Vinegar Applications. So why go through all this rigorous lab work? Well, look at this threshold, 60 grams per liter, or 6% weight by volume. That's a big deal, because strict quality control laws govern what you consume. Take Spanish legislation, for example. Commercial wine vinegars literally must contain at least 60 grams per liter of acetic acid to be legally sold on the market. Without this titration chemistry, enforcing those quality standards would be basically impossible. Standard table vinegar usually falls perfectly into that 4% to 8% range. This direct titration method we just learned about, it's exactly how industrial chemists continuously verify whether the manufacturer's 5% label is scientifically accurate and entirely honest for you as the consumer. Well, we solved the mystery today, but it definitely leaves us with an exciting final thought. What other household items are hiding secret chemical concentrations just waiting to be tested? Think about all the crazy chemistry sitting quietly in your kitchen cabinets right now. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning the world around you, and I'll see you next time.